And last night was one of the best. I'm not gonna say the best, but it was one of the most interesting nights I've ever seen in basketball in the NBA. But I gotta start off with Jason Tatum's injury. Um, and I'm just gonna say it was the most dramatic injury I've ever seen. And and injuries are dramatic. I've dealt with injuries myself in sports, so I know how that feels. And it was the most dramatic injury I think I've ever seen in terms of just like the moment, the reaction, his reaction. It was kind of like almost supernatural in a way. It was the most just watching it in real time. It was like you just were like, okay, like it was like the whole tide of basketball shifted in just like 1 second. It was just like, well, now the Knicks might actually win the series. Probably should win the series. Probably will win the series. It didn't look good. It looked like one of those like low. It looked like an Achilles thing, which is unfortunate. I'm a big Jason Tatum fan. I feel like he's one of those underrated guys in the NBA. He's one of those underrated guys to me. But it was the most dramatic injury I've ever seen, and I don't blame Tatum for flopping around all dramatically like that because I've been in that situation, and there's just so much going through your head. You're like, oh, my season's over, and like this is really bad, and like, dude, it can be very dramatic. And like I said, I know exactly how he feels, so I'm not here to poke fun at him like at all. It's a very tragic and sad thing, especially as an athlete. Like us, or most people like on their day to day 9 to 5 situation don't encounter situations where you're like your entire like career in life is just stripped away like instantly like that. For example, if that is an Achilles, he might not play again for like another year and a half type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like injuries are dramatic. I'm not gonna go too into it, but I had to retire after I hyperextended my knee in soccer. Now I retired at 33, and it was just that injury in particular. I just felt like it was over for me, and I just remember how dramatic it was for me, how sad I was when I left the field, and my life changed. Like my life totally changed after that. Like I started focusing more on my businesses, and I pretty much changed my whole life in a blink of an eye. And like I said, it almost felt like the Celtics' whole lives just changed in the blink of an eye. I hope for the best for Jason. Um, I'm sure he'll bounce back, but man, that was the most, like I said, that was the most dramatic injury I've ever seen. And then part two of this is, um, let's put some respect on Jalen Brunson name, bro. Let's put some respect on JB name, bro, because at this point, I think he's better than Luca. I mean, seriously though, at this point, I think he's a great leader to me, and I feel like leadership wins championships. He's a great leader, and he comes to play in big moments. He won Clutch Player of the Year for a reason. Teams don't want to play the Knicks late. Late. They don't want the game to be close with the Knicks, bro. That's what I started to notice. It starts to get in people's heads. In sports is a mental game, and I love watching it. But it just seems like when it's on the line, you just look at Jalen Brunson's face and he just looks stone cold. Like Jalen Brunson looks stone cold, bro. No matter if he's hurt or not, he looks stone cold, bro. And I feel like the team just like plays around him. He just demands the ball in those key moments. And man, that's what I love about Jalen. He's such a fighter. He's such a fighter, and he's a shorter player. But look, guys, I've seen Steph is a smaller, shorter player. It hasn't really. He hasn't had the worst career. You know, um, do you win games or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how I see Jalen. Like he's just like a winner, dude. He's a competer. He's won a college championship. He's a fighter, man. He's a dog. He's a dog, man. He's a dog, dude. He's not the type of guy you want it to be close late in games, dude. Because like I said, he is just straight stone face, bro. But that's my two takes of the night. Put some respect on the Knicks. Put some respect, and God bless Jason Tatum. Hope he's okay. Um, and yeah, guys, that's it. Peace.